Across the U.S., roads cleave through forests, prairies, wetlands, and migration corridors, fragmenting ecosystems and creating dangerous obstacles for animals. Montana, in particular, suffers from one of the highest rates of wildlife vehicle collisions in the nation. Drivers in the state face a 1 in 53 annual chance of striking an animal, and wildlife-related crashes make up around 13% of reported collisions there, costing millions in vehicle damage, emergency response, insurance claims, lost productivity, and, tragically, animal lives. High-speed roads, often lit poorly in bisected habitat, have become almost invisible walls to wildlife. Elk, deer, bears, even small species like amphibians attempt crossings and falter. Road ecologists emphasize highways create barriers, making it nearly impossible for wildlife to get across, leading to population isolation, disruption of genetic flow, and elevated mortality. Wildlife crossings. A proven solution, structures such as underpasses, overpasses, and protective fencing have proven extremely effective. Studies across North America show wildlife crossings reduce collisions by over 90%. Around U.S. Highway 93, in collaboration with Montana's Department of Transportation and the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes, nearly 40 underpasses and overpasses installed in the early 2010s dramatically improved safety and connectivity. Moreover, the Federal Highway Administration, via the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, has allocated grant funding. Montana received $9 million to address hotspots on I-90 and US 93, highlighting grizzly bear mortality zones. These investments reflect both ecological intention and economic prudence, recouping collision costs, reducing accidents, and safeguarding wildlife corridors. Montana's breakthrough laws, HB 855 and HB 932, Montana has recently enacted two landmark bills creating dedicated, ongoing funding streams for wildlife crossings. HB 855 establishes the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Wildlife Highway Crossings and Accommodations Account, funded via a new specialty license plate expected to generate $100,000, $160,000 annually. License plate design will be selected through a public art contest, raising awareness as well as revenue. HB 932 directs 20% of state marijuana tax revenue into a Habitat Legacy account, fund of which $500,000 a year is earmarked for wildlife infrastructure. This makes Montana the first state to create a self-sustaining, legislatively protected funding mechanism for wildlife crossings. Together, these measures offer permanent, reliable funding, paving the way for construction, monitoring, and long-term stewardship. Governor Gianforte's signing of the laws earned praise from conservation groups like Pew Charitable Trusts and the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership. Public-driven trusts, empowering passionate citizens. Beyond funding, Montana's legal framework invites grassroots engagement. Under the new system, anyone with expertise or passion can propose a crossing, raising funds, securing engineering studies, and shepherding design and construction. These efforts are formalized through permanent trusts, governed, funded, and managed by at least 3 trustees. This multi-person structure ensures resilience. If one trustee is incapacitated, the trust remains functional and accountable. Trusts must be open to communication with relevant agencies, like freeway authorities or wildlife services, enabling quick responses and cooperation in emergencies or maintenance needs. By becoming self-sustaining businesses or nonprofit benefit trusts, these organizations must generate revenue, not rely solely on volunteer labor. Trustees are compensated, and operational budgets must cover maintenance, insurance, and eventual decommissioning or replacement. Because they hold funds across decades, even centuries, these trusts ensure continued care long beyond the initial project. Fundraising can extend to donations, partnerships, and e-commerce initiatives, expanding capacity to support multiple crossings. Why this matters: public infrastructure by the people. This architecture decentralizes the stewardship of infrastructure. It opens the door to publicly inspired solutions. Biologists, conservationists, local communities, or concerned drivers can all launch a crossing project. Rather than waiting for government to act, individuals can take initiative, backed by law and funding assurance. Trusts offer transparency and trust. Financial records, communication lines, and governance structures ensure accountability. They also distribute responsibility. No single person bears full burden. As benefit trusts grow and manage multiple sites, they become ongoing advocates, raising awareness, generating public support, and demonstrating the effectiveness of wildlife crossings. This model encourages a crowdsourced infrastructure ethic. The public proposes, the trust implements, government supports. It blends private initiative with public oversight. Challenges and considerations. While innovative, this system faces hurdles. Thence, complexity: forming a trust, commissioning engineering studies, navigating permitting, coordinating with DETS and wildlife agencies, all demand expertise and resources. Funding scale: a single overpass can carry price tags in the millions. While license plates and marijuana revenue help, major crossings may need blend of public and private investment, including federal grants like the Wildlife Crossings Pilot Program. Long-term management: trusts must ensure perpetual maintenance, inspections, repairs after natural disasters, and eventual demolition or replacement. This requires sound financial planning and risk management. Coordination: integrating wildlife crossings alongside road expansions or freeway maintenance relies on active cooperation between trust trustees and transportation departments. Early momentum and growing opportunity: Montana is not starting from zero. Since 2018, the Montana Wildlife and Transportation Partnership, involving state agencies and conservation nonprofits, has mapped priority wildlife corridors, identified hotspots, and facilitated pilot crossings. Federal support through infrastructure funding, like $9 million distributed to I-90 and US 93 projects, also sets a precedent for multi-level collaboration. These legislative advances make Montana a national leader, linking innovative funding, legal empowerment, and public action in a unified model. Vision: a network of crossings driven by community. Imagine dozens of crossings, overpasses in elk migration zones, underpasses in deer corridors, amphibian tunnels across country roads, all proposed and managed by local trustees, supported by state funds and public dollars, and held by permanent accountable trusts. Each trust could begin with environmental and traffic studies, raise funds via grants, license plates, philanthropy, commerce, construct crossings in cooperation with DOT engineers, manage and monitor usage with remote cameras or sensors, replace aging structure and ensure long-term safety, educate the public, and raise further awareness. With legal backing, dedicated funds, and a clear governance model, these trusts could multiply across the state and serve as a blueprint for wildlife infrastructure nationwide. A future of citizen-powered conservation: Montana's new law sets a precedent: infrastructure by the people for the wildlife. It transforms roads from barriers into opportunities and community energy from a passion into policy. Public roads need wildlife crossings. Montana now says you can build them, you can fund them, and you must maintain them indefinitely with integrity and transparency. The beauty of this model lies in its permanence and its people-powered nature. By planting the seeds of dedicated funding and legal structure, Montana turns ecological responsibility into citizen opportunity. If successful, this is more than a program. It's a movement, an army of local trusts, theaterfully bridging roads and ecosystems built by those who care, and structured to endure. Montana is showing that when the public owns the solution gets done and kept done for generations.